Hey, good Friday morning, folks. Yeah, we made it to Friday. Hey, nice, huh? We do have some colder air coming later today. I would call it actually tonight in most of southern lower. So I'll go over that with you on when the temperature will drop below freezing, if the roadways will be wet. And then we're starting to see one shot at I don't know if I would call it a snowstorm yet, but one shot at a shoveling type snow on the way about New Year's Day or so. I'll cover that too. And if you have any questions, go ahead and ask away. And if you have any reports from up in the UP on what's going on, let us know. So here's the current radar. This is rain right now. Back to the west, it's starting to change over to snow. And I'm sorry, I know us meteorologists have kind of encryptic type things that if you're not familiar with it, we got to walk you through. This is a surface map. And what I want to show you is south winds at Grand Rapids, at Saginaw, at Alpena, north wind at Traverse City, but still 50 degrees, and then north winds in the UP, 34 Marquette, 25 up at Houghton and Ironwood. And so the cold front sits right about where my pen is right now. Jeff, define shoveling storm. You already to pin me down, don't you? Not gonna happen. Whatever you would shovel. I'm just saying right now there is a system, and I'll show that to you in just a moment. Hey, good morning, Bernie Egg. Okay, so here's the cold front, but we're still 51, 53 Grand Rapids, 52 Lansing, and then like I said, you got to go to Marquette at 34, 25 at Houghton. Temperatures in the 20s, western Wisconsin too. So it's going to be a little while before we get below freezing. I'll show that to you in just a second. Mary Farley, traveling back north from Kalamazoo. How's the weather going to be midday? You'll have to watch that midday, because here we go. All right, here's a radar forecast, and watch what's going to happen as this cold front comes across Lake Michigan. Our model is forecasting to get kind of juiced up and maybe pick up a little bit in intensity in precipitation and change to snow. So this is 10 o'clock this morning, 11 o'clock, noon, and you're fine there. So if you're heading to northward from Kalamazoo at noontime, you're still okay. Hey, good morning, Tonda Gmitter. And then we're getting into 1 o'clock this afternoon, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. And then you see how the cold front is going to get juiced up a little bit, and the radar forecast shows that it starts to increase in coverage some. Still not heavy, but what this does is it keeps the roads wet for when the temperature drops below the freezing mark. So that's why you can get some road freezing as the cold front moves through. What about Dearborn Heights? Have things to do. Dearborn Heights, you are A-OK, I would say, all through the day and even into evening. How's Alger looking? Oh, boy, I'm drawing a blank. Alger. I think that's by Standish, but you're going to have to help me on that one. Okay, so now we're into 7 o'clock tonight, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, and midnight. Okay? So, someone mentions have family going from Lapeer to Iron Mountain. You're going to run into some snow across the UP, but not a solid snowstorm. Just kind of spurts and some falling temperatures. Windows are open this morning in Pinckney. Yes, okay. Okay, so cold front, like I said, the main thing here is that it increases in coverage late this afternoon and this evening in northern lower and shifts south even into the Grand Rapids area. And what that does, I think, is it keeps the roads wet as the temperatures drop below freezing. Here are the temperature forecasts. Okay, we're at noon here. We're still 50-ish degrees, okay? And then we're 40s. And then 30s. And while we have a crowd, just want to remind you, this is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. We do this every morning on MLive, so like our Facebook page. They call it the statewide Facebook page because, you know, MLive has a hub in a lot of cities like MLive Saginaw, MLive Bay City, MLive Flint, MLive Grand Rapids. So like the main MLive page, well, you are if you're watching, but let others know to like the MLive page. And if you could right now, do me a favor, hit the share button. That would be a Christmas present. Share button. Share is great for us because it helps spread the word of what we're doing here. So get back to it, and thanks for joining me on the MLive morning weather update. Okay, so we are at noon. Your freezing is still way back here. So if you're anywhere in the lower peninsula this morning, you're going to be okay. We had another question here. Let's see. Chris Thompson, there is a mix possible on Monday. Any prediction? Okay, I'm going to talk about that here in just a moment. That's the storm that we're going to start to watch. Okay, we are at 4 o'clock. We're still 45-ish in Detroit. Down to 34 in Grand Rapids, 35 Traverse City, still 40s east side of the state. Freezing line coming across the bridge. So in the lower Michigan, it's going to be, hey, I was right, Alger is near Standish. So the freezing line, the freezing temperatures and the freezing roads won't be until 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon in the far north. Southern lower, you're still on track to stay well above normal through most of the day, through all of the daylight hours. Okay, we are at 8 o'clock. Detroit 35, Lansing 33, Grand Rapids 33 to 32. Traverse City now is below freezing. So here's the freezing line, okay? So 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight. Still hanging above freezing in the southeast, the freezing line right through here. So the road freeze up. I guess my main point to you is it's late. It's middle of the night for most of southern lower Michigan. Okay, it's probably after midnight for Detroit, after midnight for Jackson, maybe around midnight at Lansing and Saginaw and Grand Rapids. North of that, probably it's sometime, it looks like in the late evening, we'll call it, in the northern part of Lower Peninsula. So you got a pretty good day today, and by morning, everything will have moved through and changed. But if you're driving in the middle of the night tonight, that's when you would run into some problems. All right. As far as snowfall on this, not a whole lot. We're talking an inch or two where the snow gets juiced up as it comes across the lake. So, you know, your Traverse City, Mansalona, Charlevoix, Manistee, Honor, Cadillac area timeline for all this. Rocky Stoll wants to know. Cadillac, I'm going to say you're going to drop below the freezing mark. Well, let's go back here. You're going to drop below the freezing mark right there. That would be 6 o'clock tonight. Okay, so prior to that, you don't have any travel issues. Okay, so here we go. Now, this is the U.S. model that I'm going to show you. It is not as aggressive on this next storm as the European model. The European model, 8 times out of 10, is better than the American model. But the European model takes it and goes from one frame, not much of a storm, to the next frame, kind of a very strong storm, which looks a little strange. So I don't know if I'd believe it. It might have what we call meteorological cancer, and that is a bad piece of data gets put in to the models initially, and then as the forecast goes, it gets worse and worse. So we'll wait on that one, but I'll show you the American model because I can, and you'll see where we're going to be watching. So this is the weekend here, Saturday and Sunday, and we have dry conditions. We're actually back to a southwesterly wind and milder weather. Okay, now here we go into New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And this is what both models show. A storm coming from the south, that would be moisture laden. Traveling to Bel Air, Jackie Rath tonight. What are we looking at? Get there as soon as you can in the evening. It looks like a changeover to below freezing, probably 5, 6, 7 o'clock at Bel Air. I wouldn't call it a huge snowstorm, but wet roads could start to ice up, okay? All right, so here's the storm with the moisture. Here's the cold air. And remember, I've told you all along, if we're going to get a snowstorm, we've got to get that cold air in with these. That storm on the American model would take the right track for some accumulating, but we'd have to get cold air in before it. So nonetheless, we'll just watch New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and then we do get some cold air and maybe some lake effect snow. This is on New Year's Day. Breaks down quickly though. This is why I think it's going to be a mild January. Already by the 3rd, we're back to a southwesterly flow. Mild temperatures pouring in, and then look, it just goes kind of dead quiet as we go out 10 days or so. So now Anne Marie Thomas is asking about Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor, you don't have a freeze up until after midnight tonight. I would say midnight to 3 in the morning. What's 9 a.m. looking like? Will my flight to into Flint be okay? Right now, that storm system looks like it won't be heading into our area until late Monday or Tuesday. Hey, good morning, Kelly Frick. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So, there you have it. What we have going on today is we have warm temperatures holding on very stubbornly. Cold air coming in, but that cold air not hitting southern lower until midnight or after. So you can get about today very safely in most of lower Michigan. Of course, the cold air will be coming in from the north, so northern lower, you'll get the freeze up sometime later this evening, but it'll be middle of the night for southern lower. The weekend is dry. The weekend has good travel conditions all across Michigan. Saturday and Sunday, a little colder, but dry conditions. And then we're talking, we'll watch the storm system. Maybe that'll be our only January snow. Hard to say. I'll have a post on this timeline freeze up. I'll update you on that today on MLive. And also I'm going to look at the December snowfall or lack thereof. So have yourselves a great day. Thanks for joining me on the MLive morning weather update. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Be careful. Travel during the day today in lower Michigan, and you should be A-OK.